Welcome to the Yes Lady with CharlaA, your encouragement solutions for outrageous business. I'm extremely honored and excited to have Bob Beaudine as my guest today.
It's time to say yes to your future. Each week, CharlaA interviews business owners that are breaking the mold. Tune in each Thursday to discover how you can too. Here's your host, the Yes Lady herself, CharlaA.
Bob, thank you so much for joining me today.
Charla, hey, fantastic.
The first time I met you in the end of, I think it was December 12th of 2013, and I remember that because it was at Without Walls Church celebration, and the pastors had married you and your wife.
What's the odds?
A few years ago,
yeah.
One or two, and that was a while back. But what you brought that night to me is you brought a whole stack of books, and you stayed and autographed each and every one of them, eye to eye, person to person, with each and every person there, and did something personal to them and to me. And so that really touched me. And I remember that night, I waited to the very end because I wanted to ask you a question, because here you are, this bigger than life person, and speaking and amazing energy. And I said, you have a book called The Power of Who, and it's about who you know, and you already know everybody who you know. So I asked you, I said, would you be on my radio show? Because I had a little radio show I'd just been doing a few weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And you said yes.
And it was fantastic.
And we had so much fun.
We did have fun.
And we've done 2 or 3 or 4 since then, off and on the different platforms I've been around. We actually did one from an airport. I was in whatever city you were in. I was finding a place in the middle of, I think, Minneapolis, St. Paul, or somewhere up there, and it's amazing what technology can do, right?
Yeah, crazy.
So Bob Beaudine, you are the CEO of a pretty big company called Eastman Beaudine.
Yep.
Do you want to explain a little bit about that, and then we'll go into your authorship?
So my dad started an executive search industry out of McKinsey. McKinsey's the top consulting firm in the country, one of the top 3. And we find the top 3, 4, 5 people in every industry. We had offices in Chicago, New York, LA, San Francisco, 15 countries in Europe. And then I got into the business, never really thinking I'd be in the same business as my dad. I was running a large brand for Carnation, which is now Nestle's. And we got into the business. I got in and all of a sudden opened Dallas for us with another guy who had been in the business a long time, and did just main level search for CEOs and all the small businesses that are probably watching today. And I looked at my dad one day and said, I ought to do what I love plus what I'm really great at. And he goes, what are you saying? I said, when I do a search for like a president of a manufacturing company, at the end of the search, I get a tour of the plant. If I did the head of marketing for the NBA, we'd get All-Star Weekend. And he said, yeah, go get that. But you can't give up what you got until you could do that. And what's amazing is that when people have something on their heart, a dream, and it's kind of written, they could actually say, this is where I really, really want to go. There's usually a connection that's already set in place, which started the thoughts about the power of who. That it couldn't be just about the power of friendship, because there's the line that says, hey, it's not what you know, but who you know and who knows you. Of course, what you know is important. That's a ridiculous statement. It's not, what you know, but who you know. Well, we know lots of people, and a lot of people know us. The who I'm talking about are people who matter most. Your friends and your family. People who would do that something extra. A friend is different, right? And a friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you when you've forgotten the words. Friends are secret keepers. Friends do something for you that mere acquaintances would never do. And what I had no idea is that there was an individual already in my life who already was in sports that my dad knew, and when he talked about it, my opening search was the commissioner of baseball. It was unbelievable. I interviewed the president, President George W. Bush for it, Colin Powell. I interviewed people all over, the top 50 people, president of Disney at the time, et cetera, Frank Wells, and the list goes on. And so, isn't it unbelievable that you and I could encourage people to follow that dream? And that dream isn't with a bunch of people we don't know, not a bunch of influencers. God had to have given you specific people in your life to make a difference. And what if they're just not happenstance acquaintances?
What if they're
your friends, they're people in your life, your family. But that's really the whole concept here, is that we've forgotten some things. People matter most. Our heart knows it. God's taught us, but we've forgotten.
We're connected.
We are.
But we're not connecting.
Yeah.
And that's a huge piece. That's where I believe that when you were in the CEO position, you're doing traveling, you still do that. That's your bread and butter. That's what you do. Yeah. And along the way, you decide somehow or another, you got this idea that people they already know everybody they need to know to get everything they need or want. And how did that come about? Because that is the key. And what does that really mean? And your book, by the way, the book is The Power of Who by Bob Beaudine.
Yeah. Well, first off, I was traveling a bunch, right? And I have 5,000 at the time. I had 5,365 people in the country that could say, "Hi, Bob," and give me a hug. And then I said, wow, it took me 5 million miles on American to do that.
Too bad it wasn't Delta.
Yeah. And then I had a couple million on Delta. Then I did a study of who's touched my life or given me any business. It was 87.
87 people?
Out of the 5,365, when I took like stupid off my forehead and focused in on the people I was given, my business exploded.
Really?
And that's the difference here, is people do something for you that when they know you. We've been taught in our lives that friends and business are taboo. So let me get this correct. We're supposed to work with a bunch of people we don't know and don't trust? This is ridiculous. No, friends are the difference maker. 82% of companies today do not have a program that promotes friendship.
Really?
That means 18% actually are the only ones who do. So
what does that mean?
Get to your cubicle. Don't go like talking coffee. Hey, listen to me. So hold it a second. Why wouldn't we want to be friends if we work together? The reason that we've been taught this incorrectly is I might have to fire you. I mean, this is the whole concept that people have. But the answer is, if you have one friend in your business that you could talk to, a true friend, you're 40% more productive. There's no small business today that can actually increase their productivity 40% as simply as what I'm talking about. You ought to get your people together. They need friends. Why? Because we got trouble. People have trouble. And so if they're unhappy and they had a fight at home, wouldn't it be great if just one of your friends said, I'm sorry, and you take a moment. But we just don't have that anymore. Time is our enemy. But listen, timing's your best friend.
Oh.
It's a paradigm shift that says, I got a moment for you, which is what you were talking about at the end of a talk. So I'm not gonna I don't wanna just give a talk to a bunch of people and then get in my limo and leave. I wanna meet you. It's about people. Zig Ziglar was just over the top on that. And the reason he did is he cares about people. He could spend one moment. I really believe that I can have a moment, a couple minutes with someone, and I can change the trajectory of their life, right? By what? Getting to the voice of their dream. We're just told not to do that. I mean, hey, I don't know, Mr. Beaudine. I gave a talk at Cal Riverside, and this young girl, I'm giving a talk to all their student athletes, and they all come in, and I tell them at the end, if you want me to sign your book afterwards, I'll give you a thought on your dream.
Wow.
400 of them got in line. The first girl from Chicago, Illinois, from Lake Forest, she says she's a soccer star, she's the captain, and she says, oh my gosh, I go, so what's your dream, Mary? And she goes, oh, I don't know, Mr. Beaudine. And I go, sure you do, it's written on your heart. And she goes, oh, I don't know. And I said, well, there's 399 people behind you. And she goes, and she voices it. And I said, well, why wouldn't you just say that? She goes home, she calls me, sends me a note on social media, says, hey, I'd like to talk to you. And she said, did I tell you that I was always embarrassed that my mom played bridge, the card game. And so she goes, yeah, I always thought cronies should do this. And so she said, I wake up, it's 11:30, I finally get a chance to sleep in. I come down and there's Mrs. Richardson, one of my mom's friends, and she's sitting at the four of them playing bridge. And she goes, hey, Mary, get over here. Oh, I'm gonna get cereal. No, get over here. What are you gonna do in your life now that you graduated? Oh, I don't know, Mrs. Richardson. Sure you do. She said, it's written on your heart. She goes, do you know Mr. Beaudine? And she goes, no, I don't know Mr. Beaudine. And so she says, what are you going to do? And she says, okay, I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, if I would share my dream, I'm telling everyone who's a listener, if you would share your dream with those people around you, something magical happens. What? So all of a sudden she says, I want to be in pharmaceutical sales, and Chicago's a big area. My uncle had done it. I really want to do that. And her mom goes, you never said you want to do that. And she said, Mom, I just did. I'm declaring it, just like Mr. Beaudine said. And she goes, Mrs. Richardson says, do you know my bridge partner, Mary? She goes, no. And she goes, what does your husband do? And so she goes, he's the CEO of Abbott Labs in Chicago. Oh. She goes, the power who's in my living room. She said, the next day I'm given a job. They hand it to me, I'm in. I get to then shadow him and go out and then go to other things. And she goes, she says, what if I hadn't gotten in line to meet you? What if I hadn't told and blurted out to my mom's friends? She says, none of this would have happened. She said, I got a revelation for you. I said, you got one for me? She goes, yes. I go, what? And she says, I need to learn bridge.
That's
friendship,
cute. Yeah,
family,
truly.
The people around you. Friends and business aren't taboo. They hold a key to actually your dreams. That's just, people have just not done it. And the answer is, hey, the fact that you already know everyone you need to know, well, I don't mean that we're not going to talk to more people. I'm just saying that we know enough people today, okay, for the problem you got, right?
And the way that your book came together and talks about the power of who is you build a little team, a team of 1, 3, 12.
Yes.
And then they have their connections.
Right.
Right. And that's what you mean. It's not, they may not know, but they know somebody that knows. It becomes like a ripple.
It's a ripple effect. So here's what the problem is today, is we've been taught that asking our friends for help is rude. So if you and I are best friends and I ask you for help, would you help me?
Absolutely.
Why would you deny me the same joy of helping you? Our friends were created to do that. You ask me and you talk and you say, would you come on my show? Yes.
Thank you, by the way.
This is your show. It's called Yes. That's the point. That the people who are on the show
Exactly.
is yes. The answer is, who couldn't you get on your show? That's a good question for you to sit and ponder, because the answer is, it's unending. So the problem that we have is we've lowered our expectations. I'm telling people to raise their expectations. What if that one friend, so if you have 100 friends, I got 100 friends, we have 10,000, how many do we need to find the dream? One. So this isn't about people you don't know who are not going to help you. This has to be someone. So the problem that we have is we won't tell our friends. So there's 3 reasons people don't get their dream. What is it? You won't ask. You ask the wrong who. You're talking to a bunch of influencers. You haven't developed that relationship yet. And 3, you're vague. Oh, Mr. Beaudine, I'd like to be in sports. Really? What do you want to be, like a referee? No, I wanted to be like the marketing person. Well, for where? In what city? Wouldn't it be good to be specific? Listen, God is totally specific in everything. If you want a loan, you need to tell me who it is and what it is that you're trying to get it for. If you're trying to get an introduction to a specific company, don't say, hey, if you happen to have some people that would really like to do this. What? I don't know those people. I have friends. Vague. And so what if we would be specific and things would happen? Yeah. I mean, that's what every major success person would tell you.
And a giver can't give if a receiver won't receive. So it's a two-way street, right? So a giver,
we have these 2 parts of our brain that drops endorphins and makes us euphorically happy. What are the 2 things? Okay, gratitude and giving. It's not position, power, and money. So when you don't let me help you, you're stopping my buzz.
We're all losing. So we're going to take a quick break here. This is Charla Anderson, the Yes Lady, with Bob Beaudine, and we'll be right back.
The American business economy is positioned as it has never been before. Professional videography is a core element for attracting a higher level of engagement with the people group you need for significant impact. Now is your time to shine. My name is Bill Brock, owner of White Rock Films, and I invite you to a powerful opportunity in the marketplace, an opportunity to draw excited people to your events, an opportunity to showcase your ideas on infrastructure, an opportunity to become known as the industry authority and enjoy the associated benefits of a strong, influential brand. Video highlights, video teaches. Video puts a resistant market at ease, and video stirs the hearts and imaginations of your allies and strategic client base. White Rock Films offers full audio, video production for businesses ready to embrace the future, handling your project with professionalism, experience, and polish unheard of in the industry. My name is Bill Brock, and White Rock Films wants your business. See us online at whiterockfilms.com.
Experience the Zeal difference.
It's my favorite beverage.
I never thought nutrition could taste so good.
I know it's why I feel the best I've ever felt.
Wouldn't start my day without this beverage.
Every once in a while, a product comes along that's so innovative, it has the ability to shake up how we feel about nutrition. You're about to be introduced to a one-of-a-kind nutritional powerhouse. It's scientifically formulated and backed by a landmark clinical trial. This wellness product has created a movement that has already generated over $300 million in sales. It continues to change lives, create a thirst in people to be healthier, and is inspiring generations in ways other beverages simply do not. It's called Zeal, and thousands of people worldwide, just like you, appreciate that it takes the guesswork out of nutrition and why it's loved by so many. If you don't experience the Zeal difference in 30 days, we'll refund your money. Join us in this movement and experience the Zeal difference.
The Yes Lady with CharlaA is back here with Bob Beaudine, and once again, I'm so excited because you have such an energy that it just permeates the air, the space, the area, and your passion behind it. And I'm really, once again, grateful for you to be here. I want to ask you now, if you had something that the small business owner could make a difference that would really, one practical tip or one thing, what's the big thing that would help?
The biggest thing right today and it's for every business owner, is a personal board of directors.
Okay.
This is what they need. It's a kitchen cabinet like like a president would have. You need a firewall to protect you. There's viruses coming in of all sides. There's trouble that happens. We need a self-protective strategy. And so we need like 7 people that are on this board, and I teach that in the Power Who. 7 people. One might be your mom or your dad, okay? And you might not have had one, but it could be a grandma. You need to have your mate on this board. You need to have your best friend, and then you need 4 technical advisors. 4 technical. 1, you need a legal advisor to your legal advisor. Don't do any legal advice for yourself. Financial advisor. If you're gonna do something, don't do your own financial advice. Have someone who's advising you of whether you should get in that deal, because in your Who group, this group of people that you have assembled of the people who matter most, that you've identified a list, they're already there and they want to help you. So I got my mom or dad, my wife, I have my best friend, I've got a legal, financial, and now I need 2 other people. I need a career advisor, some life coach. That they can speak into your life and go, oh, yeah, don't do that. Or, hey, there's 3 tips right now, and I need to introduce you to these people. And then you could stop, and you need a spiritual, some moral compass.
Very good.
Sometime that is. So here's the problem, is that people don't add these. The one thing when trouble comes, the last thing I'm gonna do is tell anybody I know. That's your biggest mistake. The answer is quickly. You wanna get bad trouble out to your friends and say, what do I do about this? What's the one thing that I could do? And so what happens is we lean on a bunch of people that we don't know, and then it comes back and it's leaked and it's out and people are doing things. Listen, the people you know in your company and people around you love you, and that's what you should pick, really, right? We play this little game of that I send out text messages to people, and if you sent a text message to one of these 7 and said, hey, I was thinking about you. I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your friendship. I love you, okay? The response should come back with the love. Now, your friends are gonna say, are you drunk?
I've watched this
They're gonna
happen
say,
in
are
real
you okay? They're gonna worry about you. Your mate is probably gonna say, did you mean this for me? Why? Because you're not saying, I'm thinking about you, I appreciate it, I love you. So the crucial piece here is this. You're gonna say, no, I meant this for you, and you're gonna say, hey, I meant this for you, I love you, and then they're gonna come back with a love letter. And if they don't fit this board. These people are smart, they're savvy, they're blunt with their advice to help you, they chisel, they know, and they can instruct and tell you great things. They can help you, personal board of directors can help you leapfrog way over all of the problems that you have. And if you think that you can keep this hidden, I can promise you that anything hidden will be disclosed.
Huge truth right there.
Right.
Huge truth. And, yes.
Oops.
Secrets.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Exactly.
Make sure you run as fast as you can
towards your
who.
Your group. And
Right.
I love that.
And they will create a sheltering tree around you. No, we know that to be true.
And it feels like we know people that feel like they don't have those people
Right.
in their life.
Right.
And so they have to maybe be one of those people, right? They have to start building those relationships that like I said, we're so connected, but we're not really connecting. And so when we can actually embrace the next person.
So when you're in a rut and you're in this rut, what happens is you start to think about you.
You internalize
Right.
it, right?
It's all about this. And I gotta solve this. I'm gonna do this. That's all not gonna work. Or I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna say, hey, this trouble. This is about everybody else. I gotta splash the mud, get everybody else bothered by this, and maybe they won't see
And the
me.
drama
And all this
that
drama
comes
and
along.
everything. And of course, we can't go any TV show today where we're not just filled with the drama. Or we could stop.
Except this one.
Accept and pick. In what I wrote I wrote in my first book, The Power of Who, I wrote in my second book, 2 Chairs, is that you have friends that you were given to help you in times of trouble, to help you in strategic things. This isn't happenstance, it was strategically given you. What if finding our destiny is not about who we don't know, but whom we've neglected, our friends?
And so often we stay so shallow, so surfacey, and when you really get into everybody's got stories, right? So when you get into their story and they get into your story, then there becomes the heart connection that can lift each other up. And I just kind of sense in our society right now that's a lost art in a way.
We're all a cup short of greatness. I mean, with you, with us being here today, with us encouraging people with, hey, there's other answers. Say yes and listen to this. Why? Because, we're not in it for anything else but for you. I used to think when people wrote books, they're trying to schmooze me into reading their book so they could get rich. Then I read all the people's books. I found out, dang, they're already rich. They were trying to give me the one secret, and I was stupid enough and I wasn't going to read it. No, readers are leaders. That's where we are. Friends help you, guide you. They've done things. Your trouble makes you better.
Exactly.
It doesn't make you less. The facet is this, just as Zig always said, failure is not a person, it was an event. The answer is, I'm not even counting it as that. You aren't strong unless you've been something, and then you can turn to me and go, Bob, I've been there, I've done that, I had that, but this is where you should go. And if I'm smart, I listen.
And learn.
Exactly.
And question.
Right.
And and find out. We all have to learn to hear from our heart, right? So often we're making head choices, and this is where I feel like both of your books teach us to really make heart choices with our friends, with our people, the connections that we make. Because I'm a connector, right? I collect people. I do. I collect people, and then my little book. I don't remember if I've given it to you or not, but
fantastic.
You are acknowledged in this book because you're such an inspiration to me, a personal inspiration to me. We're not connected daily or that often, but I know that I can call you because you have a vested interest in me.
So the greatest thought is that you know that when you meet people. Some people, they come into your life and they leave instantly. And then others, they stay and forge such a place in your heart that you're forever changed.
And
we could have only met for moments, but that moment was instrumentally given by God to what? To encourage, to set a tone, and to change the course, to change it, which is just what you said, is listen, okay? Learn, question. Those are just brilliant. Those are hard things for young people to stop and say how much we need to stop and listen to some of the people who came into our lives, who put us in this world on purpose to help us and guide us, and yet we're never going to talk to them. We're only going to text, and we're only going to say hello on something over his, no, I don't know you. You have to be known to be needed. So somehow you got to get out of your apartment. You got to get out of your house. You got to go join a group and help and connect and serve and love. That's what we got to do. We have to connect with people. And the answer is, that's the energy. The energy that between two people is what changes marriages and families and teams. You can never be successful in life at what you like. You got to love it. And so loving it is passionate. It wins the day, wins the girl, it wins everything. It wins campaigns if you're passionate.
And we have the very similar message, and it really is love, right? Love.
It's the end of the day.
I mean, there's no other bigger message, and unconditional love and loving people. And I loved what you said earlier, that some people come for a very short season.
Right.
And it is a season, and you can take those very short seasons with very impactful people. They may just, when I buy a candy bar for someone and I touch their lives and I say, may I give you a hug, and I hear their story right then and there. I found out my mom was terminal today when at a checkout clerk.
Wow.
So it doesn't take much to make a big difference.
Right.
And it doesn't take much time, and it's a short season. And then what you bring out is that season expands with our family, with the people that we really become connected to in a longer term, but it doesn't take much to just touch people on a daily basis. Now, they may not be, like you said, they may just blip into your life, but now I just love so much the power of we are embracing those that love us and that we love.
Right.
And we've got to continue sharing that message.
I go around the country, and when I talk, I ask people what their titles are in their jobs. So when you do, I've placed like 54 athletic directors in universities out of the 100.
And their title is special.
And they say, I'm the head of compliance, and I'm the head of operations, and I'm the coach, and I'm this, and I'd say, and I listen to it, and I go, no, you're not any of that. You're sinking way low. You're the director of love. This is what you are. I said, everybody, we're going to do it like Barry White, okay? We're the director of love. And I get everyone to do that. And so get what? So here's our problem. There's 180 words in the Greek language for the word love, okay? We have one. I love tacos. I love my wife. What?
Sometimes more than...
What? So hold a second. No. No, I can tell you that I love you. But I've been married now coming up 35 years with my wife, Cheryl. She's the love of my life. I could tell you of my 3 daughters and my 3 grandkids. The love I have for them is something that's actually set. But There is another side that says, I don't want to just like you though. I want to move our friendship to a different tier. And there's tiers of that in this process. And the answer is to make a moment where time is our enemy, but timing's our best friend. We got to get into the love game. We can't play in the like. So there's no championship teams in college football that the person to your right and to your left, you're not allowed to love them. Otherwise, you will not be able to survive the season.
That's powerful.
Right.
So can you give us the practical tip here?
Yeah.
The number one thing that you want to leave the zinger here.
So every Friday we do something called Who Friday. On Friday, after lunch, everyone stops work and we call our friends and we say, how can I help you? That's what we do. And so the stories of what occurs, would you be surprised that Friday is my biggest day of business?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, so the problem is that the law of reciprocity, which is you give unconditionally, comes back at you. God wants you to stop and take time with your clients. What are you not calling your clients? You're not telling them you love them? So we don't do that? That this, in my business, I don't have one client of mine in sports that we don't hug. They don't tell me they love me. It's so far over the top, they send me hearts. It wouldn't matter if it's Ultimate Fighting Championship or football or NBA or college or wherever it is. Love is the problem, and the problem is that we don't take time out. And so on Fridays, we stop and we help people. And the stories of one after another of something. So I have one that I helped a guy who, it was just an afternoon, and I call him and I say, Bob, how are you doing? He says, great. I said, how's your wife, Mary? He said, well, she's good. I said, and he said, she's just, and then he just stops. And I go, so what's the matter? And he goes, well, my son Larry's, a quadriplegic. Oh. And he says, I just don't, she's just not getting time with him. And I go, so what does Larry like to do? Oh, he sees his wheelchair is kind of like NASCAR. I go, fantastic. And I go, so do you go like to a race? And he goes, there's one coming up in 3 weeks. He and I go and we sit up in the handicap area, and I go, who's he like? Dale Earnhardt Jr. I said, great. And I said, so Mary doesn't go? And he goes, I said, have you ever been down to the pit? And he goes, I don't know, we can't probably go down to the pit. I said, hey, I'm gonna call you back. Immediately I call Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s agent. I got some who.
You do have who.
And so I say to him, hey, look what we could do. We could do something for Mary and Larry. And he goes, I said, do you think Dale would want to do that? And he kind of hems and haws. And I go, wow. I said, listen, I'm good friends with Jimmy Johnson's agent. Got to lose some leverage here. And he goes, oh, he says, and finally he says, no, I think Dale would like to do that. Yeah, great. They wheel down Larry for the thing. Marrying him. Out of nowhere comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. Boom, he takes a quick Polaroid, takes it, flips it to his other guy, whips it, he takes him around the car. Larry's going, he's coming unglued. He looks at it and he says, hey, this is your picture, Larry. And he puts it in the visor and he says, you and I were driving together today. Puts on headphones. He says, when I go around the turns, I'm gonna scream out to you, hey, Larry, we're taking him. He takes his jacket off, he puts it around and he signs it to him. He pulls out a jacket for Mary, puts it around her. Oh. And he says, let's go talk to the rest of all the other drivers and tell them about the Dale Earnhardt Jr. team. He said, the first guy I want to talk to, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, hey, Dale, what are you doing? He goes, we're going to kick your you-know-what today. What are you talking about? He goes, I got Larry. It was one telephone call on a Who Friday. And I get this call from Mary the next day and she goes, what did you do? And I go, what happened? And he goes, oh my gosh, she said, I have moments now with him. I got my jacket, we're part of the team. She says, we got this for the rest of our lives together. And I thought to myself, you and I, we hold the key to our family and friends, don't we?
We do.
We could do one thing for them, but we'd actually have to talk to them.
Oh, that.
This crazy talking thing, I'd have to potentially take a risk in my business. And not call that and just say, how do I help you? And is anything going on in your life? And we could unlock something great just through our who. And sometimes we're missing our moments.
You know, that is very touching. It's an amazing story, and I really acknowledge you and thank you so much for taking the time out of your incredible schedule to come and be with us here today at Offbeat Business Media.
Because I love you.
I love you too, Bob. Oh. This is Charla Anderson, the Yes Lady with CharlaA. Bob Beaudine, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm the Yes Lady with CharlaA, powered by Zeal Wellness. Zeal is my nutrition beverage of choice. It is 14,000 milligrams of superfood nutrition in a powdered formula that you can just shake it and take it out the door, grab and go, have energy, vitality, reduce your stress, some incredible health benefits. It's incredibly cost effective, and it is going to change your life. I'd love for you to join me. Go to charla.zealforlife.com, charla.zealforlife.com. Join me in being healthy, focused, full of energy, tastes great. Zeal for Life.
That's all for the Yes Lady with CharlaA today. The Yes Lady with CharlaA is produced by the OBBM Network and available on demand at offbeatbusinessmedia.com. The Yes Lady also airs each Thursday at 12 and 8 p.m. on OBBM Radio, available on iTunes and offbeatbusinessmedia.com. Download the Offbeat Business app to get the Yes Lady TV and podcast on demand. To be a guest on the Yes Lady, call 817-808-7703.